What's up, y'all? It's Dee.
Hey, and it's your girl Chels.
And this is Postpartum Uncut. This is our safe space to talk about everything that happens after we come home with the baby. And today we are celebrating Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We love y'all. We support y'all. We want y'all to do great.
I just want to say that as hard as we go for Mother's Day, we have to make sure we shout out all the dads that show up every day. Show out.
Yes.
However y'all come in, y'all come, y'all go hard, and y'all show up every single day. We love y'all.
Absolutely.
So we want to talk a little bit about the perspective of dads, because dads go through a postpartum period as well. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
They think postpartum is literally for the woman.
And, as much as we talk about, everybody thinks that postpartum is just this. There's so many aspects to the dad side of it, too, that people don't know about. So, we're going to look at what it looks like for them, what lifestyle changes they can go through, and what raising a baby looks like on their end.
Guys, so with that being said, I'm going to pass the ball off to Dee. So since you guys actually had the experience of popping out a baby and then, the hospital trying to kick you out nowadays.
Right.
You got to leave on like day 2 with your bundle of joy. What was that transition like, leaving the hospital and then coming home?
Leaving the hospital was kind of scary because we had nurses and help. And I just thought about that. It was like, oh, dang, we ain't got our little nurse friends no more. So it was cute because we would sit there and go through like our little notes together. The nurse would give us those, the 6 or 7 S's to help to calm the baby down. So like he was real adamant about remembering, like, okay, I tried to swaddle, I tried to feed. He was really cool about trying to figure his son out real quick, like the baby stuff. I feel like I'm more of the studier between the two of us, and he's more of the wing it guy. So I will say he at least kept an open mind with having to wing it. And he did that. The transition was interesting because, we're a 2-parent household, and we went from 2 incomes down to 1. And so for an outsider looking in, like, I was just thinking like, oh, okay, what about him? What about him too? Like that mom brain that worries about everybody. I was just like, okay, how can I make things easier? I'm staying at home, and stay at home moms go through like a whole like thing. Sometimes you feel guilty, but that's also just because you're conditioned to think one way. You've been living life one way. So
I think that's the thing, you've been living life one way up until now.
Right. And literally, like we said that last episode, I worked and then had a baby the next day. So like I didn't really wean myself off of that anyway. So the transition from 1 income or 2 income to 1 income was exactly what it sounded like. It was an adjustment. It was right after tax season. It was ghetto. Okay. But the cool thing is that we had really great support. We got stocked up with baby supplies. So the baby didn't want for nothing. And we got time to adjust low key. Like,
now, how long was he off work?
He was off work for 1 week. So He got to be home with us like as soon as we brought the baby home, which was great. He got to be very hands-on. We took turns, and I took advantage of that time to like take care of myself too.
Good.
Yeah. I was like, you made me think about that when we were talking earlier. I was like, yeah, he hella held that baby while I was in the bathtub. Like, those were helpful things. So the being at home part was cool because it kind of gave us an idea of some things that we would run into. And so like we're like planning our sleep schedule out. We're planning chores. We're planning like how we're gonna do things, and like, talking together to come up with an agreement. Like, okay, we're gonna do it this way, right? Okay, all right, that's how we're gonna do it. So like a daily operations kind of meeting in a way. And then we had to work a lot on communication. It's a lot of communicating. And so
what's that board called you said you had in your house?
It's a comm board, so a communication board.
Okay.
It's a little dry erase board. So we have one in the kitchen for like us, but like the baby, baby boy had one in his room. He had a baby no more, y'all.
Baby
I was
boy.
like, I had to check myself real quick. But he has like this little erase board in his room that we wrote originally like the last time he ate, how long or how big that bottle was. And then like when he went to sleep, what his poop was like. Did he poop today? How many times did he pee? Like it was that all that newborn checklist stuff. We kind of got that together on there. It also, like as I said in a previous episode, it makes it easier to communicate when you don't feel like communicating because we had to communicate a lot. Yeah. And sometimes like you just be tired. So like, or if someone had to like literally like go do something as soon as the person got home.
You're
that part, the tap out, but it makes it easier to just go on the board and be like, okay, she fed him here. Cool. I'm gonna go do this. So I mean, it was an adjustment. It was an adjustment for both of us, but I was grateful for that week that he was home because we got our ducks in a row the best that we could. Mm-hmm. So that's the background on us.
Do you find anything stressful or like hard about being like a new dad, that whole transition, one income, all of that? Because now he's taking care of you and the baby.
I think it's really just the impact, right? Like the switch up like that fast. Like, dang, 2 people depend on me completely. Like tomorrow. Yeah. Like yesterday, this was not the case. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think it was just the impact of how different things were. Mm-hmm. I think dads don't think about that when they make babies. Neither do we, right? We don't think about
that in depth. But I think for some people, like I be thinking about certain things.
Yeah, personally, like until I talked to like my OG mom friends about like birth, like the birth details, I ain't really thinking about like the blood and the machinery. There's just some stuff that you don't think about, right? That's the whole point of our channel.
Maybe I thought about it because I've actually seen some live births.
So well, yeah, and you missed Nurse Chelsea. Like I've witnessed it. I was not prepared all the way for like my hospital experience as far as like just knowing like procedure and process. Yeah. And sometimes procedure and process be messing with my attitude. Okay. So there's certain parts about that I wasn't ready for. But like as a dad, there's some stuff I don't think that dads are thinking about, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so like, yeah, I just think he was just kind of hit with everything on top of the baby, his stuff. He has to make sure he's healthy and he's right. Mm-hmm. And then he's trying to make sure I'm healthy and I've got hormones flying around like a hurricane in here. So he's dealing with all of that. Mm-hmm. I think he handled it very like, very classy.
Nice.
It was very patient, very loving. It was messy. Shout out.
Right on.
Which also kind of leads me into your story anyway, because yeah, people are not thinking about being in your position either.
True.
So for the people that are new or the people that need a recap, give them just a little snippet about birth with baby girl real quick.
So essentially I found out I was pregnant and then literally a couple months later got sick and delivered her via C-section. Dad actually was out of state. And so, we're just communicating as best we can via while he's out of state. And, I went in on, I think, Friday. And then, so Friday night, I ended up recapping him about, I'm in the hospital, this is what's going on. He's like, yo, do you need anything? I was like, I mean, I'm stable, like, I'm cool right now. This, that, and the fourth. So I'm like, okay. So then, literally, like, Saturday morning, I'm like, they said they're gonna take the baby. Like, I'm telling him he needs to get down here. So I'm pretty sure his mind is like, what do you mean? Like, you're doing April. It's January, bro.
So, yeah, that's a big gap.
Yeah. So he's like throwing like draws in the bag, like trying to catch a red eye down here. He almost left his wallet in the Uber. It was just like because he was like,
I bet he was just like all over.
He was like, that's hard. Like, so I'm like going through what I'm going through over here, and then he's like trying to get here. Everybody calling him like, yo, you about to, So it was like a whole thing. And I'm pretty sure mentally it was hard for him, knowing like he missed the birth because they couldn't hold off. They had to take me ASAP. So it was very hard for him, I think, on that tip too. I mean, because technically I missed the birth too because I was under anesthesia. So we both missed her birth.
But
shout
Chelsea,
out
this is like a good point though. Like
yeah.
this is the reality of a C-section, an emergency C-section.
Well, not even just that, because some people are still awake during an emergency C-section. But I had a risk for bleeding, and they were like, basically anesthesia will kind of decrease the risk of me like bleeding out. So they were like, we're gonna put you under. So my mom was the one that heard her cry first. It's probably why they got such a close bond. Like
that is her girl.
But so yeah, it was just like it was a hard transition, and then literally he ended up working it out with his job where he could stay here for 4 months. So we were living together for like those 4 months, and
that's nice.
He didn't have a chance to really breathe. He went straight from all of that hoopla over the weekend to reporting to work on Monday. I don't even think I was discharged. I didn't discharge till Tuesday, and he's literally in my hospital room, like connected to the Wi-Fi, having conference calls with his team, and then that's how our schedule was when we got home, and it was like work, NICU, work, NICU, work, NICU for 2 months. So shout out to him for trying to keep up with that schedule and like trying not to really complain about anything or like be tired, because it was a lot, like having to work and then go straight to the NICU because I was tired, having to pump, recover from my C-section, like watch my blood pressures every couple hours, and then trying to find a way to get to the NICU because I couldn't drive was hard.
Right.
But like I said, the NICU was a blessing in a sort of way. Like, of course, I never want my child to be in the NICU. I don't think any parent does. But it was that buffer of time that we needed as parents to kind of get our ducks in a row, because we got shorted like 2.5 months of time. So it just kind of let us, like the crib wasn't ready when I had her, like none of that stuff. So it just gave us time to kind of catch up and make some phone calls and do what we needed to do. So by the time she came home, it was going to be like a regular transition.
Right.
So yeah, after 2 months, we brought her home. Yeah, it was great. But like she said, shout out to the dads because they do a lot of stuff that we don't think about. Like it really made me like think in like retrospect. Every time we went to the hospital, that man would literally park the car outside of the entrance, and I would walk in. I get my wheelchair. I sit there, wait for him to park it. He'd come back to the entrance, wheel me down to the NICU. We do what we do with baby girl. He'll wheel me back upstairs to the front, park my wheelchair, go get the car from the garage, come back to the front door, and then take me out to the car because I couldn't walk that long of a distance.
Now, for real, the men be like pack mules. Like,
so yeah, it was every day for 2 months. That's what we do.
That is one of the harsh realities about NICU moms that I like. Y'all deserve a shout out, because the thought of driving every day to go see my baby, like there's just a lot of stuff that you don't think about when you're like making a kid. But like when you get here, you're like, well, dang, I'm really happy that I have this person as my partner. Or, wow, I'm really glad that this is who I chose to do this with. Like, that's really cool to have those moments. But it's also like, think about these things, guys. Is this woman am I gonna feel like pushing her in the wheelchair every day? Am I gonna show up for her while she's raging in her hormones, going cray cray? Like, this is stuff you're gonna think about, or you should think about. I think it's worth thinking about when you're having kids.
And it's like you never really know what you're gonna get until you get to that point. Exactly. Right. Like, of course, you pick people strategic. Well, if you're a planner, you put people in your life strategically. Like the way I move ever since I've been like 26, I'm like, yo, I'm not even about to have an oopsie doopsie potentially with someone that's gonna embarrass me or like that I just don't think is a reputable person. Because it's like that's the reality when you're intimate with people, that can happen. Right. And so I'm like, so yeah, I just, I don't know, everybody may not have pushed my wheelchair.
No. In labor, you need support, you need love, you need like whatever's gonna motivate you. Like I need a coach and a hug at the same time. So having his mom was cool because she was like rubbing my foot and was like, "It's okay," and he was like squeezing my hand like, "You got it." Yeah, you good, babe. Just keep like that's what I needed. I needed something soft and something like, yeah, coach, put me in, coach. So that was a great thing. Like shout out to our dads.
Yeah, and then even too, kind of like going, I guess, to what it looked like with him at home. He was very hands on. It was almost to the point sometimes where I'm like, okay, let me get my baby back. Like,
can I have my baby, please?
Thanks. Like he would, in between, conference calls, he would be like, "You need anything? You want me to get the 12 feet in real quick? I can do that before my 1:00 meeting." I'm like,
like, oh wait, I like this.
Yeah, because like I've had conversations with other moms, and they're like, "Can I ask you a question? Like, is it just me? But when Bobby comes home, he wants to do this and get something to eat first, and I ain't wash my ass all day. So like, what's up?" And I'm like,
I don't have this problem.
I said, no, like it's a very give and take. Like we kind of understand that, and so no. I was like I just said, I had to ask for the baby back sometimes because he's so hands on. And for me, like some moms would have been like a power struggle with certain moms. But for me, in my head, I was like, okay, I know this time is going to expire at some point.
Right.
So let me back off and just kind of let him soak in all of the new dadness and new babiness that he can while he's here.
Yeah, that's real cool of you because it's hard. It's hard to give dads sometimes when you're like the main person the baby depends on. I think breastfeeding can contribute to that too because the baby literally depends on you and
you
has to be attached. You can't, and it's like it creates this thing though. Like it creates I've obviously got to solve the problem, and that's not necessarily true. And dads are here to remind us of that sometimes. So I will shout out the dad in my house because I feel like a lot of dads are usually, or like just guys, are usually scared to hold a fresh newborn. They're always like, no, like holla at me when he's sitting up. Like a lot of the uncles did that. And like, shout out to the uncles, y'all are great. But like, he was very like giving a baby. He held his baby like, as soon as I let him go after I held him, like whatever moment they would let him hold him in the hospital, he was holding him in the recliner already in dad mode. It was real cute. And I think like he just enjoys all the little milestones that keep happening now because he's just really excited to start like wrestling and running and jumping and all that stuff that I have to endure as a boy mom.
You sit back and watch. Just get your lemonade, and
it's gonna be that way because what else am I gonna do?
Record for the the time capsule,
right? For the time capsule, because these moments do expire, and that is the greater point. It's like I know it's not easy to be present all the time because sometimes disassociating from parenthood is necessary, like
to keep your mental sanity.
No, for real. But it's not easy to be present, especially when you're healing as a human by yourself. So I just think it's really cool when dads show up just as much as moms do. Yeah. Shout out to y'all.
So now we're back to talking about one of our reoccurring favorite segments, gads. So of course we've already talked about what our favorite gads are, but I mean dads use them too. So now we're gonna tell you what some of the men thought about these gads and like what their favorite things were to use. So what was his favorite gads?
So we've got top 3. We've definitely got Baby Brez as number 1 contender. He said there was no particular order. I'm gonna go ahead and put an order for him. Baby Brez. No, but in real life, it should be his number 1 because it made his life 10,000 times easier. So, like, Baby Brezza for all formula feeding mothers is a dad-approved gadget times a billion. One of our classmates that one of our sweetheart classmates, they're a couple. They had their first baby within this last year too. They have 2. They have one upstairs and one downstairs. Okay, that's how real it is. So that because they're like, yeah, nighttime is trash. He enjoyed the simpleness of, even if it's like, because you remember my shift was the overnight shift, right? We had shifts, so I would go to bed at like 8, and he would take whatever happened up until like midnight, and then I would take midnight to whatever.
I like how you say whatever happened, because that's really
Whatever
how it
happened.
is.
Because ain't no point in trying to put some plans on it. Now I can pay attention to my baby and peep like what I can get on routine, but that's how I had to tell myself was like, okay, 12 o'clock is my shift, and I'll see you in the morning, right? Um, Even if it was my shift, he could still pop up, go make the bottle, and lay down, because then I could like change baby boy's diaper and get him all situated, and like a nighttime feeding didn't have to be a thing, like a whole thing. It's still a thing, but yeah, feedings 10,000 times easier, or even just like when I had to do things. It's just like, it's not heating up a bottle. It's not measuring anything. It's so basically buttons.
The moral of the story is he can't break the machine. It's very user friendly. You don't have to think too hard. Just press the button and go.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. The other gadget was my stroller. We know I got like the SUV of strollers. It's a very durable. It's the Even Flow Pivot 360. I love that thing. He loves it because in dad land, it's like a boom, boom, 2-step process. This particular stroller has 2 attachments. So I am the mom that has to open up the stroller and put things on it. I do have to do that, but I do like how easy they make that process, because there's a stroller attachment that's just like kind of loose and free for like the zoo and stuff, but then there's the car seat attachment that I literally can unclick his car seat and put it onto the stroller, and it still moves the same way. That has been very convenient. Period. We talk about grocery store trips. You and I talk about grocery store trips all the time, but he likes that boom boom. He likes the simpleness. Again, like a big factor in dad gadgets is simplicity, guys. If you haven't caught on to the theme here. And then number 3, what did he tell me? The baby gate. That was the first thing he said on the phone, was the baby gate. Which like, yeah, he's got a point there. So we have a townhome, and there's this really inconvenient staircase, and it was built very not great for a toddler. So the minute he learned how to crawl, we realized we had to get a baby gate. And oh, bless his heart, he installed that thing on our janky staircase, and it has kept him from falling down that flight of steps several times. And now we've discovered we need another one at the bottom of the steps for when he wants to climb back up. So yeah, baby gate land. We're in baby proofing mode now, and I can't deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So what about you? What did he say were his like top, like, oh yeah, I like this?
So definitely, because this is my number one as well.
Right.
The Duna. He actually he calls it the baby Tesla. That's what he calls it. Because it's just fancy and yeah, like it gets the job done. It's just so many different like add-on pieces you can use. Like it's just really user friendly. It's nice, and then everybody knows like when you get inside of a Tesla, it's just like I can do this, I can do that. Oh, we got that feature over there. So yeah, he calls it the baby Tesla. Yeah, he really likes the Duna. I think that probably the second one for him is the changing station, because he didn't have an order either. But the changing station, because let's be real, men don't like looking for stuff. They don't want to go to 3,000 different places to like.
You talking about your bassinet or your the 3-in-1 or whatever? Okay, yeah.
Because it's like the changing pad is right there where he can just sit her down. It even has a seatbelt clip if he's like, oh shoot, I need to go wash my hands or something. He could like strap her in safely. All like the bottom had a shelf where it had like diapers, extra onesies, bibs, socks, like birthing cloths, like anything you could think of, ointment, like everything was right there. And it was even a bassinet as well. We didn't use that part as much because she had her pillow on the couch that we just laid her in. But I think he liked that one too, simply because everything was like a one-stop shop. He didn't have to
For sure.
call me like, where is this at? Or, you know, like spend extra time looking for something. It was right there. And the third one was the baby warmer. Or the bottle warmer, sorry. That was very nifty because it literally got your bottle warmed like that. And like what we would do is as soon as she woke up, it would be put the bottle in the warmer, change the diaper, do what we need to do. By the time all that was done, the bottle was ready to go. And because the baby bracelet is cool because that also like you can pre-do everything as far as like the powder or the formula, whatever XYZ. I didn't use the baby bracelet, but what I did is kind of like a Chelsea-fied version of it.
Your system was pretty dope.
Yeah, I would pre-make my bottles in the batches. So it wasn't making a bottle at that time, but it was the bottle was already made. I take it out the fridge, bow. So almost like replacing like keeping the bracelet up is kind of like how I would make my batches.
I can't foresee any really change in efficiency compared to mine if it's already there and your warmer is efficient. And you had a good warmer.
Yeah. Can't remember the brand, but yeah.
Philips.
Was it? Okay.
No, I remember I was recommending it to somebody. I know I remember. Yeah. She had a good bottle warmer. But that technique is actually in our nifty list, isn't it? So if you go back to one of our episodes, we did this like mom hack kind of thing. And how she came up with her batch formula, I was kind of like, okay, if I didn't have my brother, I'd totally do that because that's a vibe.
Yeah, it was definitely helpful. And then if you're like budget friendly or you know like the bracelet kind of not in because it's expensive.
The bracelet ain't no joke.
If that's like a thing that you're gonna be conscious about making bottles in the batches, it's like the next best thing, and then you just take it out. Because like the warmer, I don't know, it's like $40-$50. I want to say maybe a better one is like $60. I don't see it being more than $70. And then your pitcher, you already have to get the bottles anyway,
right?
So for less than $100,
and it's just like she basically had bottles, and all you do is pull it out and heat it up. Like her system ain't too far off on efficiency for me either.
Yeah. So for like less than $100 for sure.
Yeah.
You can get the job done.
These are dad approved baby gadgets. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, dads. I hope we got some dad subscribers in here. Shout out to our dads. Dads, it is your turn. It is your turn to leave comments. It is your turn to leave comments in the comments. We want you to explore any of the topics that we talked about today. What was it like bringing home your newborn? What did you expect, didn't expect? Like, what's a crazy story about it? And what did you appreciate about the newborn stage? Or tell us your favorite baby gadget. Because, like, what's the dad-approved stuff that we didn't talk about? Or do you agree with us? Did you try something that we used and you thought it was bomb too? Drop your opinion. And then, ladies, why do we love the dads? Let's drop some love for the dads below because it is Father's Day. And we love y'all. This is Postpartum Uncut. We will see y'all next week.
See you later.
Bye.